G'day team, welcome to another tiny build scale modeling video. Today we are covering the classic US Navy tricolor camo scheme used on carrier-based aircraft in World War II. Now there were a lot of variations of this camo scheme depending on the plane, the crew, and the ship, so I picked a reference photo and stuck with it. You can copy my version or you can find your own reference photo and use the same steps to paint up your aircraft. This video will show you the basics for this camo pattern, as well as some historically accurate colors you can use on any US Navy plane from the time. With that being said, let's jump into it. We're gonna start with our plane completely built up, minus the propellers and wheels. We also have our canopy all taped up. To begin, we're gonna prime the whole aircraft with Vallejo black primer to give us a solid base coat and a good surface for the paint to stick to. Next, we're going to spray some Vallejo white aluminium as your metal undercoat. This will represent the exposed bare metal once we get into chipping later on. Next, we're going to spray Vallejo US Interior Yellow as a stand-in for Zinc-chromate, which the Navy used as an anti-rust and corrosion primer. To save paint, time, and money, I only apply this around panel lines and access areas where chipping would realistically occur. Things like ammunition access panels on the wings, engine cowlings and removable engine panels, wing roots where the ground crews and pilots often stepped, fuel filler ports, and leading edges of wings and stabilizers. These were the most heavily used areas, so that's where wear and tear would naturally show. Then we're going to give the whole plane 2 to 3 thin coats of hairspray. Let it dry for at least a couple of hours. This will allow us to chip the top layers later on. To start our first color of the tricolor camo, we're going to spray the belly of the fuselage and the underside of the main wings and horizontal stabilizers with Vallejo Insignia White. Leave it to dry completely before masking in the next step. Mask off the white sections like I've done here with Blu Tack and some masking tape. If you look at reference pictures, tricolor camo had soft demarcation lines, not hard tape edges. The thicker the Blu Tack, the softer the line, and vice versa. I went with a medium thickness for a subtle, realistic edge. After you're happy with how the masking went, spray Vallejo Intermediate Blue over the mid-fuselage and lower engine cowling. Use 1 to 3 thin coats so the panel line shading still shows through. We can start using our reference photos here so we can get the paint exactly where it needs to be. This creates the distinctive band of color running through the middle of the aircraft. For the last of our 3 colors, we're going to feather in some Vallejo US Navy Sea Blue. Spread this over the upper fuselage, engine cowling top, upper wings, and the bottom half of the wings. Use a tight, close spray to blend in the intermediate blue with soft, natural transitions. You can freehand this with your airbrush or use Blu Tack like we did a couple of steps ago. I've included both techniques to get soft edges. Use whatever you're comfortable doing. You know your skill level best. Once the outline is feathered in, fill in the remaining areas. What kit are you working on right now? Drop it in the comments. The plane is now ready for chipping, which I'll cover in an upcoming video about weathering planes. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. We have two more things to do. Spray the engine cylinders with Tamiya X10 gunmetal. You could do this earlier and mask it off, but I find it easier to paint after the camo is done. Second, if you've added a drop tank, mask it off and paint in Vallejo Intermediate Blue. This was a common color for external tanks on US Navy aircraft. And there you go, your US Navy tricolor camo scheme is finished. Here's my completed build, including decals and weathering. In an upcoming video, we'll go through weathering techniques, including chipping and washes. We'll also have a separate video where we cover the cockpit painting and detailing for this plane. If you enjoyed this tutorial or learned something new, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, happy modeling, and I'll catch you in the next one.